Welcome to the Tile the World podcast. Today, we're not just scratching the surface. We're doing a full-on deep dive. We're diving into mastering large format tile installations, LFTs. If you've seen those big, clean, tiled spaces, you know LFTs look amazing. Absolutely stunning.
You really do.
But for anyone who's actually tried putting them in, you find out pretty quick they come with, well, a unique set of challenges.
That's putting it mildly sometimes.
Yeah, it's more than just, slapping down bigger tiles. So our mission today, give some hard-earned insights.
The real-world stuff.
Exactly. Those secrets that help you avoid the common problems like those dreaded cracks or unsightly lippage.
Lippage, yeah.
And let's be honest, avoiding a whole lot of wasted material, too.
That's precisely it. And look, this deep dive, it's really crucial for anyone working with LFTs. It's not just for the seasoned pros.
Good point.
Whether you're, a passionate DIR, maybe looking to transform your own home, or a contractor wanting to level up your skills, or even someone deep in the tile industry. Understanding these key things, these best practices, they come straight from, well, industry experience.
Real insights.
Yeah. It ensures your LFT jobs aren't just beautiful when you finish, but they're actually durable. Built to last.
Okay, so let's start with basics. What is a large format tile? Seems obvious, but maybe it's not.
Well, there isn't one single, universal definition, especially when you talk ceramic tiles.
Right.
But generally, in the industry, if a tile has any side, just one side, longer than 15 inches, we pretty much call it large format.
Okay, so that covers quite a range then, like those popular 24 by 24 squares.
Yep, those count. And also the bigger rectangular ones, like 24 by 48, or even something like a 12 by 24 can fall into that category now.
Interesting.
And what's fascinating is, while these bigger sizes give you amazing design options,
Yeah, that's huge impact.
they also have these built-in characteristics that just fundamentally change how you install them.
Like what specifically?
Well, for one, just the physical size and weight. It's undeniable.
They're heavy.
They are heavy, they're bulky, and that directly hits your labor costs. And frankly, it can lead to some serious installer fatigue over a day's work.
I bet.
But beyond just the weight, and this is where it gets technically interesting, large porcelain tiles, especially, they can have natural variations.
Variations, like defects.
Not defects, no. That's the key thing. Things like a slight warpage or maybe a subtle doming effect right in the center of the tile.
Okay.
And here's the crucial insight. Believe it or not, the industry considers this normal. It's not a flaw.
Really? Normal?
Yeah, it's just part of working with such large materials that are fired at high temperatures. It's like a testament to the forces involved in making them. So real mastery isn't finding perfectly flat tiles.
Right.
It's about knowing how to manage these inherent variations expertly.
So I imagine some listeners might think, oh, bigger tiles, maybe they go down faster, fewer grout lines, maybe the job's easier. Is that a common trap people fall into?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's a really common misconception.
Okay.
The reality is large format tiles actually demand more work and significantly more specialized care, not less.
Right, so it's not a shortcut.
Definitely not. If you don't use the right approach, you face a much higher risk of pretty critical issues. You mentioned lippage.
Yeah, where the edges are uneven.
Exactly. Noticeable lippage or frustrating cracks that just ruin the whole look.
And cost money.
And ultimately, costly material waste, which, hits everyone's bottom line.
Okay, that leads us perfectly into what sounds like the absolute foundation, maybe the biggest secret for successful LFT work. Substrate prep.
Nailed it.
Whether it's a floor or a wall, getting it flat seems paramount. And for LFTs, the standards are way tighter than for small tiles, right?
Dramatically tighter. This is really where you separate the pros from the folks who are going to have problems.
Okay, lay it on us. What are the requirements?
For any tile that's over 15 inches on just one side, your substrate, the floor or wall underneath it, cannot deviate by more than 1/8 of an inch. Total variation over a 10-foot span.
1/8 inch and 10 feet. Okay.
And even more precisely, it can't be more than 1/116th of an inch out of plane, like out of flat, in any 24-inch section.
Wow, 116th and 2 feet. That's precise.
It is. And for the pros listening, you know how crucial that measurement is. But for a DIYer, what it means practically is you can't just eyeball it.
No way.
You need a long, accurate straight edge, a level, something reliable, because even a tiny dip or hump that you might not see, it becomes a huge glaring issue with big tiles.
Makes sense.
Ignoring these strict flatness rules, that's the #1 cause of lippage. And it just makes the whole installation way, way harder.
How so?
Well, it stops the installer from having to constantly guess how much mortar they need to build up under this corner or that edge. It turns a precise job into, well, guesswork. And that's where things go wrong.
So guessing is bad. What's the solution then? How do you achieve that level of flatness?
The primary tool, the go-to solution in many cases, is self-leveling underlayment, SLA.
Okay, self-leveler. I've heard of that.
Yeah, think of it like pouring, liquid perfection. It finds its own level, spreads out perfectly flat.
Like honey, maybe?
Sort of, yeah. It's honestly a game changer for saving floors and, frankly, for saving your sanity on these jobs.
How do you make sure it is flat, though?
You use those long straight edges like box levels or even a laser level setup. You check it carefully to make sure you're getting a truly flat surface. No sneaky dips or humps left behind.
And doing this up front.
Oh, it makes a world of difference. Getting the floor perfectly flat beforehand. It's not just about how it looks in the end. It improves the final result massively, sure, but it also makes the actual tiling work so much easier.
Right.
And it boosts your productivity like crazy because you're not constantly fighting the floor with every single tile you lay.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Foundation first.
Yeah.
So once that foundation is perfectly flat, what's next?
The
adhesive, right? The mortar.
Exactly, the right adhesive. And again, for large format tiles, picking the correct mortar, it's not just important, it's absolutely essential.
Okay, so what are we looking for?
You need what's called a medium bed mortar. And critically, it needs to be specifically rated for large and heavy tile.
LHT.
LHT, or sometimes LFT. Look for those letters right on the bag when you're buying it.
Got it. LHT or LFT?
These mortars, they're formulated differently. Usually a higher polymer content gives them that thicker, necessary consistency.
Why thicker?
Well, this type of mortar is designed to provide that needed thickness, sometimes up to 3/4 of an inch buildup.
Wow.
To properly fill any irregular spaces between that big tile and the flat substrate. It ensures you get full coverage. It bonds securely to those big, heavy tiles. It eliminates hollow spots.
Which could lead to breaks later.
Precisely. Eliminates hollow spots, reduces the chance of cracked tiles down the road. Oh, and if you're working on walls, a non-sag mortar is also really highly recommended. Helps prevent those heavy beasts from sliding down while the mortar sets.
Good tip. Okay, so we've got the right mortar, LHT or LFT rated, maybe non-sag for walls. Now, how do we put it down? Any special techniques for these big guys?
Yes, 2 absolutely critical application techniques. First one, we call it keying in, or sometimes burning in the mortar.
Keying in.
Yeah. You use the flat side of your trowel, not the notched side yet, and you firmly push and scrape that mortar right into the pores of the substrate.
Okay.
You should really hear that kind of scraping sound. It means you're creating the perfect mechanical bond, ensuring the mortar really grabs onto that surface.
Got it. Key it in. What's the second technique?
Back buttering, essential. This means applying an extra layer, a thin, even layer of mortar to the entire back of the tile itself.
So mortar on the floor and mortar on the tile.
Correct. And this is super important because remember that natural warpage or doming we talked about?
Yeah, the normal imperfections.
Exactly. Back buttering helps compensate for that. It ensures you get maximum mortar contact, maximum coverage, and a much, much better bond with the mortar you already troweled onto the substrate.
Ah, so it fills any little gaps caused by the tile shape.
You got it. You're basically eliminating tiny air pockets and creating one solid monolithic bond. Super strong.
It makes sense. What about the tools for spreading the mortar? Does the trowel size really make a difference here?
Oh, absolutely. Huge difference. For LFTs, you simply must use a large notch trowel.
Like how large?
Something like a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch square notch is pretty standard. Maybe even bigger for really large tiles or difficult substrates.
Seems like you'd use a lot more mortar that way.
It might seem like it, but here's the thing. Using that larger trowel actually saves you time and money in the long run because it makes it so much easier to achieve the required adhesion and, critically, the required mortar coverage under the tile.
Ah, coverage. Let's talk about that. How much mortar needs to actually be touching the tile?
Okay, so the minimum standard is 80% mortar coverage across the back of the tile. That's for most typical applications, like dry interior floors.
80%.
But, and this is a big but, in wet areas, like showers, or for any exterior applications, That requirement jumps up to 95% minimum coverage.
95% for wet areas. Okay. Why so high?
It's all about support and preventing water intrusion paths.
Yeah.
You absolutely need to fully support the edges and especially the corners of the tile with mortar.
Because that's where they might break.
That's a common failure point, yeah.
Yeah.
If corners aren't supported, a heavy impact could easily crack the tile. So we always recommend, periodically checking your coverage.
How do you do that?
Just lift up a tile you've recently set, pull it right up and look at the back, see how much mortar transferred, are there bare spots, especially check in areas where maybe you had to build up the mortar a bit to accommodate the flatness. Just make sure you're hitting that 80% or where needed, that 95% threshold.
Good practical advice. Check your work as you go. Okay, we've mentioned it a few times, but it seems so fundamental to LFTs, it probably bears repeating. Large tiles can naturally warp or dome.
Yeah.
It's normal, not a defect.
Correct.
But it definitely sets you up for potential lippage disasters if you're not ready for it. So how do we, as installers, actually manage or tame these built-in imperfections?
Right. This is where experience and strategy really pay off. We have a few key techniques. First off, think about your offset patterns.
The layout, you mean, like a brick pattern.
Exactly. To minimize the lippage issues that get amplified by that natural warpage or crowning in the middle of the tile, you should limit your tile offsets to 33%.
33%, not the usual 50-50 brick pattern.
Correct. 1/3 offset instead of the common half offset you see with smaller tiles. This helps hide the highest point, the natural crown of the tile, within the length of the adjacent tiles. It really reduces visible lippage.
Okay, 13 offset, smart.
Yeah.
What else?
Second, and this one sometimes feels counterintuitive for homeowners or designers who want that super seamless monolithic look, but wider grout joints are actually better for large format tiles.
Wider? Really? People usually want thinner.
I know. But it's directly because of those natural variations in the tile dimensions themselves. They're not all perfectly identical down to the micrometer.
Right, the manufacturing tolerances.
Exactly. Industry standards actually state that your grout joint width is allowed to be 3 times the facial dimension variance of the tile.
Okay, translate that.
So let's say you measure a bunch of your tiles and you find there's maybe a 1/116th of an inch difference between the largest and smallest tile face.
Okay.
Then, according to the standard, your minimum grout joint should be 3 times that, so 3/116ths of an inch.
Ah, okay. So the grout joint absorbs the size difference.
Precisely. Wider joints help you maintain the overall symmetry and squareness of the layout, and they significantly reduce the chance of excessive lippage. You really want to avoid trying to force super tight grout joints with LFTs. It just highlights every tiny imperfection.
Good to know. Manage expectations there. Any other tools or tricks?
Yes. One more big one. Leveling clip systems.
Those little plastic things with wedges.
Those are the ones. For LFT installation, they are almost a necessity for getting a truly professional result.
Why are they so helpful?
Well, the clips help you achieve a much more consistent height from one tile edge to the next. They physically hold the tiles flush while the mortar sets, and they can actually help sort of suck slightly bowed tiles together, pulling down the high spots and lifting the low spots. They really help manage those minor variations we keep talking about.
And they create the grout joint space too, right?
Many systems do, yes. Oh, and a nice bonus. The wedge part of those systems. Often reusable, which saves a bit of cost over multiple jobs.
Great tips.
Okay.
Quick pause here. If you're finding this useful and want to see more visual examples, maybe some cool projects using these techniques, you can always follow Craig, our expert, here on Instagram. His handle is @TilenErdarmy. Lots of great tile content there.
Thanks for the plug. Always happy to share the tile love.
All right, so we've got the substrate flat, the mortar right, techniques for managing warpage.
Yeah.
But what about actually cutting these giant tiles? That sounds like where things could get expensive.
Yeah, cutting LFTs can be where dreams and maybe bank accounts go to cry if you're not careful. One bad cut on a big expensive tile is painful.
I can imagine. What makes them so tough to cut?
You're hitting on a really critical point. The main challenge is that because they're so big and sometimes heavy, they're prone to sprawling or cracking or just breaking completely before you can even finish the cut.
Ouch. So how do we avoid that? Preparation.
Meticulous preparation is key. Always tape and mark your cut line clearly.
Okay.
Then, crucially, place the tile on something rigid but also a bit forgiving, like a piece of foam board insulation on a solid, flat surface. This helps dampen vibration during the cut.
Good idea. Protects from vibration.
And here's probably the most important thing. You must support the entire tile while you are cutting it. The whole thing.
Don't let pieces hang off the edge.
Exactly. If heavy pieces hang unsupported off your saw table, their own weight can easily cause them to crack and break right along your cut line or even somewhere else.
So you might need a bigger saw table. Or help?
You might need a bigger saw, yes. Or sometimes, for the really huge ones, you might even end up cutting it carefully on the floor, fully supported underneath. Now, when it comes to the actual cutting technique,
Yeah. What's the secret?
don't try to be a hero and cut all the way through on the first pass. Instead, score the tile first, just a shallow cut along your line. Then cut slowly. Use a kind of back and forth motion with multiple, progressively deeper passes.
Multiple passes. Why does that help?
It dramatically reduces the stress and tension being put on the tile at any one time. It prevents those cracks from starting and running away from you. Patience. Patience really is the key here. Don't rush the cut.
Patience and multiple passes. Got it.
Whoop.
What about tools?
Use good equipment. That means a good quality saw, and importantly, a new or nearly new diamond blade that's appropriate for the specific type of tile you're cutting, porcelain, ceramic, whatever it is.
Right blade for the right material? Makes sense.
Huh.
What about cutting holes, like for plumbing?
For hole cutting, you'll want a good diamond core bit. Keep it cool while you're drilling. Use water. Use a variable speed drill if you can. Start slow. And kind of alternate the pressure. Don't just force it. Again, patience is your friend.
Sounds like a theme here. Patience.
It really is with LFTs. Oh, and just a little efficiency tip. Have something like a simple squeegee right there at your cutting station. Helps you contain the water from the saw and keep your work area cleaner. Saves time on cleanup later.
Smart. Okay, so cutting requires care and patience. What about just moving these things around? We mentioned they're heavy. That sounds like a workout, maybe even a safety issue.
It absolutely is. We can't stress this enough. Working with these enormous tiles is physically demanding. It's not just a regular tile job. It can feel like a full-body workout by the end of the day.
Yeah.
Definitely. These tiles are seriously heavy. Prolonged handling, lifting, carrying, it can quickly lead to fatigue. And worse, actual injury. Back strain, shoulder problems, arm injuries. They're all real risks.
So ignoring the physical toll is a bad idea.
A very bad idea. Can lead to serious long-term issues for installers.
So what's the practical advice here? How do you manage the weight safely and efficiently on the job?
Use the right tools for moving them. Don't try to just manhandle everything. Use a dolly or specialized tile carrying frames with suction cups or other moving equipment to transport stacks of tiles or even single large tiles around the job site.
Work smarter, not harder.
Exactly. Always move them with care. Don't rush. And honestly, don't be afraid to ask for help. We strongly encourage installers to work in teams when dealing with particularly large or heavy tiles.
Call a friend.
Seriously, call a friend. Or have a helper on site. 2 people lifting is always safer and easier than 1 person struggling. Your body will definitely thank you later.
Good advice. Safety first. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Let's talk about some of those common questions or maybe pushbacks you might get from clients or designers when you're proposing these techniques for LFTs. Give people some confident answers.
Yeah, navigating those conversations is key.
Okay, first one. You explain the need for substrate flattening, and the client says, "Do I really need to level my floor? It looks flat enough to me." What do you say?
Our concise answer has to be, yes, for LFTs, it's absolutely non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
We explain that even tiny variations, things invisible to the naked eye now, will become really obvious, really jarring lippage once those big straight-edge tiles go down. Skipping this step often leads to costly reworks later or just a disappointing, unprofessional finish. It's truly an investment in getting that beautiful, durable result they want.
Okay, next one. Can I just save some money and use my leftover regular thin set? I've got half a bag here.
The leftover thin set question. The answer is a firm no.
Just no.
Pretty much. You explain that medium bed mortar, the stuff specifically rated LHT or LFT, is chemically engineered for the unique demands of these large, heavy tiles. It gives you the thickness you need, the coverage, the non-sag sometimes, and the bonding strength that standard thin set simply cannot provide.
Yeah.
Using the wrong mortar is honestly one of the most common reasons for installation failures down the road. Hollow spots, loose tiles, cracked tiles. Don't risk it.
Right. Use the right stuff for the job. Okay, here's a classic. But I want really, really tight grout lines. I want that monolithic, seamless look.
Yeah, we hear that a lot, and we totally understand the aesthetic goal. People love that minimal grout look.
But
You have to explain that because of those natural inherent manufacturing variations, the slight warpage, the subtle doming we talked about in almost all large tiles, wider grout joints, might actually be necessary to achieve a truly symmetrical, flat-looking layout, and crucially, to minimize visible lippage.
so you refer back to the standards.
Exactly. Gently refer back to the industry standards, like the 3 times the variance rule. Explain that trying to force super tight joints onto tiles that aren't perfectly uniform will inevitably highlight those differences and likely result in noticeable lippage. It's about working with the material's natural properties, not fighting against them to achieve an impossible standard.
Makes sense. Managing expectations again.
Yeah.
What about the fear of cutting? Are these big tiles going to break easily when you cut them?
That's a valid concern. We acknowledge that, yes, cutting large tiles can be challenging because of their size and weight, but you assure them that with the proper techniques we discussed, scoring first, using those slow multiple passes, ensuring the entire tile is supported, and using the right tools, like a quality blade and the right kind of saw, successful cuts are absolutely achievable. Breakage can be minimized significantly. It just requires that patience and precision.
Okay. And then the cousin to that, maybe after installation.
Oh.
Hey, why does my tile look kind of bad in the middle?
Right. That's where you calmly explain again that some degree of natural warpage is entirely normal for LFTs. It's a byproduct of how they're made.
And then you connect it to the solutions.
Exactly. You reiterate that techniques like using the leveling clips and planning for that 33% offset pattern, they are specifically designed to manage these minor normal variations. They ensure you still get a consistent, lippage-free finish that accommodates the tile's natural characteristics. It's all part of the plan.
Good answer. Okay, last common one, often from the client paying the bill. Wow, the labor cost for installing this large format tile seems really high compared to smaller tile.
Yep. The cost question, and the honest answer is yes, it often is higher.
Then why is that justified?
We need to clearly communicate that LFT installation does require a higher level of specialized skill. It needs that meticulous substrate prep we spent time on. It requires much more careful handling due to the weight and size. It needs more precise cutting techniques. All this increased effort, this extra expertise, it's absolutely essential to ensure that high quality, durable, and visually stunning result they're paying for. It's an investment in getting that impactful design done right so it lasts.
So you're paying for the expertise needed to handle the unique challenge.
That's exactly it. It's not just bigger tile. It's a different process demanding different skills.
And to maybe drive that point home, the idea of longevity.
Yeah.
I remember seeing an older job, I think it was a tiled shower from maybe 2013, and seeing it again maybe 8 years later. It still looked almost brand new. It was incredible.
That's fantastic.
And it just serves as real-world proofs, doesn't it? When you combine these proper techniques, the flat substrate, the right mortar, the careful handling, managing the variations with quality materials, you get results that truly stand the test of time. It really does transform a space for the long haul.
That's the goal, right? Beautiful and built to last.
Exactly. Well, hopefully this deep dive has given everyone listening a much clearer, more practical picture of what it really takes to master large format tile installations. We tried to go beyond just the basics into those hard-earned insights.
Hope it was helpful.
Absolutely. Now, if you have more questions about large format tile, maybe something we didn't cover, be sure to leave us a comment wherever you're listening to this. We'd love to hear from you.
Definitely.
And of course, for all your tile needs, whether it's LFT, smaller stuff, stone, all your decorations, remember to check out tilebar.com.
Great selection there.
It really is. So thank you again for joining us on this deep dive into the world of large format tiles. We really enjoyed sharing this with you.
Pleasure to be here.
We'll see you next time on the Tile the World podcast.